Families are starting to settle into 2026 and emotional fatigue and disrupted routines as children and parents alike pretty much struggling with what they're calling the January or the first quarter emotional hangover. So here was some advice on how to restore balance, very important, and connection is parenting expert Katherine Sellery. Welcome back, Katherine, and we're so happy to have you here. This is a busy time for a lot of people, isn't it?
It really is. And it's such a big shift from all the holiday commotion to getting back into like school and routines.
Indeed, and then we have like a holiday, like we had Martin Luther King holiday. So we get back into it after the
More
Christmas,
disruption.
and then we stop and we get going and stop, and it seems like it takes until about February, March before things get going. However, you got 4 tips that's
Totally.
going to help us as families, and we're going to start with the first one. First off, why does January feel so hard?
Well, like you said, it's that sudden shift from all of the holiday excitement. And then it's so jarring for kids and adults. So sleep changes, sugar highs, social intensity, emotional anticipation, they're all contributors to the dysregulation that everybody's feeling. It's really not just the kids. I think it's also hard for parents. But understanding it really does give a reframe for parents to respond with empathy instead of frustration and maybe some self-empathy.
Okay. And what do we do that? Sounds like we do a little bit of inventory upon ourselves, or what?
Yeah, no, exactly. Just sort of like, wow, I'm noticing I'm really short-tempered. Gosh, I think I'll just give myself an opportunity to take a breath and do some of the skills that help us come back into that sense of, okay, everything's fine. And now I can be the model for that. Help my kids take a breath.
Yeah.
Just really help everybody calm back down into it's okay. Don't have to be perfect.
It's kind of like, since you're talking about breath, I mean, like what we always hear about the airport, airplane, put your breathing mask on before the others, because if you don't, then they're going to pick up on that stress and they're going to, it makes complete sense, especially as a parent. I mean, it is hard
Absolutely.
sometimes. That makes a lot of sense. Now, with that, we are going to see probably a little behavior change in our kids. And why are we doing that? Obviously, is it because it's kind of breaking up, or are they just getting too much of something?
Right. So, if you see behavior as a signal
Yeah.
and it's a sign of the tragic expression of the unmet need is the rule of thumb. So, what does that even mean? The tragic expression of an unmet need. So, if the overwhelm emotionally shows up as irritability,
Hmm.
meltdowns, withdrawal, all kinds of signals that children are overwhelmed. It's not misbehaving. So, behavior is communicating an underlying unmet need, whether it's basic stuff like food, air, water, and sleep, which a lot of times it is. But then there's the tie in, which is the emotional overwhelm as well. So, if you recognize that, it can reduce your power struggles
Okay.
just in your own mind to be able to go, okay, this isn't misbehaving. This is overwhelm.
Yeah.
And then you'll notice that instantly there's more compassion and understanding and less conflict.
Yeah, and that compassion will help you handle the situation a lot better. By all means, I can imagine. Your next tip says
Yeah.
help kids regulate. Regulate what?
Well, parents have to regulate their own emotions, right? So
Okay.
simplify your schedules, slow down, lower expectations. Big flips happen at these times where we're going from there is no schedule to you got to be up in the morning and you got to have your backpack. I mean, the difference is huge. So when you're making that transition, the little routines, we're probably kind of into it now, but your calm presence helps them feel safe enough to settle back into just being regulated, taking the deep breath, like we talked about, transitioning out of that there is no routine to we've got routine.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And I guess your next tip kind of goes along with that, because here they are. Went through Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, out of school, all this stuff. Now the structure's back. But can we do too much? Can we overcorrect on this?
Yeah, I think we can actually. So don't overcorrect, right? January is that it's time to clamp down and regain control, right?
Yeah.
Parents just want to get their kids, to bed, up in the morning, out in the routine. And we understand that. It would just be so much easier if everybody could transition. And depending on what's going on, like a lot of kids have anxiety around starting school again. And will my friends still like me? And am I going to be able to get, all my homework done? So gently reintroducing the structure at home is helpful. So, you're not going to get it perfect. The kids aren't going to get to bed on time every single night.
Yeah.
They're going to have trouble working it all out too. So the last thing you need is to escalate conflict. So getting sleep is probably, I would say, the best thing you can do for everybody, including yourself. Because when we're more rested, we just have more bandwidth.
Oh,
And
mercy,
if we're
Lord, yes.
exhausted, we're kind of irritable. You know what I mean?
I think that's great. And I think having something that my wife had come up with, she said, listen, we're going to schedule family time now. And we kind of did, she
Oh,
didn't do it
yeah.
as a New Year's resolution, but we realized, you know what, we need some kind of structure. And so we're actually going through all of this, what you're saying. And that's helped out these past few weeks, by all means, that he knows that he has to be home at a certain time because it's always going to be basically family time. Might not know what we're doing, but we're going to do something as a family. So I
That's so
appreciate all of
good.
this. Yeah.
You've got a good wife.
She's a great wife, right? She comes up with it all. I get my great stuff from you. I pass it on to her, and she thinks I'm fantastic. So thank you so much, Kathy. We definitely appreciate you being with us. And of course, if
You
you're
bet.
going through
Thank
all of
you.
this, you can definitely check out her website. You can visit freeparentingbook.com to find out this and so much more. We'll also have this interview on our website.